Welcome to the Benning Report. Coming up in this edition, Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Training.
And see if you have what it takes to go through Ranger School.
And later, middle schoolers are put through their paces by 3rd Brigade soldiers. Welcome to the Benning Report. I'm Nicole Randall.
And I'm Nate Snook with the Fort Benning Public Affairs Office. Thanks for watching.
Air-to-ground integration is a large part of conducting reconnaissance on the battlefield. There are only a few courses that currently teach how to incorporate unmanned aerial vehicles, but Fort Benning is home to one of them. The RQ-11 Raven is an unmanned aerial vehicle used to conduct surveillance and reconnaissance from above, so that soldiers may see what's coming long before they get to it.
I'd rather throw an aircraft up and get eyes on the objective when I'm about 2-3 clicks out than send a group of my guys out there and get ambushed. We're starting to save lives, and it has saved lives in Afghanistan and Iraq.
The Reconnaissance and Surveillance Leaders course teaches how to incorporate the Raven system during their urban reconnaissance round-robin day. This class is taught by Echo Company of the 229 Infantry Regiment, where it's their job to teach soldiers how to use this equipment.
They need to learn the capabilities of it. They need to learn that it's a very good asset to use instead of having individuals go out there on the front lines before you even know what's on the objective to get eyes on it.
The Raven is an asset used in air-to-ground integration. This is a popular tactic during modern warfare, so the students need to understand how and when to employ it.
We got to learn the upgraded platform, learn how we can use that as an asset with our reconnaissance unit. So you can use it as an asset. Say if we're moving into like a facility, we can use it as a leader's recon to see what we've got on the ground before our reconnaissance element will move into a town. The higher command can have control of it to provide overwatch for either an insertion or an extraction.
The Raven travels at around 34 miles per hour at 0% wind and can travel up to 6 miles from the ground operator. And while it can reach a height of around 10,000 feet, going over 1,000 feet above ground level is not advised due to the camera's loss of visual ability. Understanding these specifics about the system will help the soldiers employ it later.
But at any time you can go and just watch video if that's all you want to watch. Just maximize the video screen and you can just watch all this video.
Can you zoom in from the computer here?
No, I can only do however he controls the bird, that's the only thing I'm getting.
It's going to provide them the live feed capability before they step off their patrol. The UAV is actually giving them the live feed and what's actually happening in that urban environment at that specific time.
Using air-to-ground integration like the Raven is a way to not only help soldiers with their mission, it can go where they can and see what they need to. This valuable asset can be the key to a safe and successful reconnaissance mission. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
The Rapid Equipping Forces CoCreate website has been a driving force by generating ideas from soldiers and experts. This combined input pioneers the way we redesign and improve soldier equipment. Melissa Bell brings us some modifications of an all-terrain vehicle and everything it has to offer.
In only 25 days, the Rapid Equipping Force has been able to turn a standard issue Kawasaki Teryx light tactical all-terrain vehicle into a soldier's dream, a mobile command post.
It maximizes your communication capability. Being able to push that signal out, especially if there's a casualty or something and you're in difficult terrain, you can push farther to get the evac assets on the way. But in a pinch, the actual vehicle could push forward to where the soldier is with still doing command functions and help evac that soldier.
The modularity of this vehicle allows soldiers to customize it depending on mission requirements. And with the addition of an acoustic muffler and extra batteries, it's stealth enhanced and capable of running all communication systems silently for up to 4 hours with the vehicle turned off.
Light and noise discipline is something that you're taught from day one of being a soldier. So with a quiet running vehicle, I mean, that's a big plus. That's part of your security, pretty much.
This vehicle not only helps with the workload of the soldier, it also supports the personal protection equipment the soldier carries.
If I turn sideways, you can see how thick my body is with my camelback and everything on. As I sit in here, the camelback's going to disappear and I'm all nice and snug in the seat. It's not pushing me forward. The Body armor actually rests on the lumbar support. I can still drive nice and comfortable.
REF officials praise Fort Benning and the Capabilities Development and Integration Directorate for their help in this process.
We've had 17 soldiers out here, NCOs, officers, who provided the backbone of the soldier input and have done a super job. So they've been a great partner, and we really appreciate the support from Fort Benning and the CDID.
For more information on the CoCreate concept as well as the mobile command post, the website will remain up for 60 days. To log on, visit ArmyCoCreate.com. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Soldiers losing days of training due to sprains, pulls, and strains incurred during basic training is generally a thing of the past. That is mostly due to a new program that addresses physical issues quickly to get soldiers repaired and back in training.
The Warrior Athletic Training Program now has teams at every initial entry training battalion at Fort Benning. The trainers stay busy keeping soldiers fit and capable. These soldiers are from Battalion 119, and they all have physical detriments that might lead to lost basic training time if not for the WAT program. It's a typical scene being repeated at every IET battalion on post.
Yeah, the Warrior Athletic Trainers have been with us for several months now, and they're a tremendous asset to the battalion. They first and foremost focused on our trainees, on rehabilitating trainees, and on injury prevention.
When a soldier reports a problem, he is sent to WAT early in the morning during what is normally their physical training time. They sign in, letting the trainers know they have a new injury or, if he's on profile, returning for treatment. While waiting to be called, the soldiers work out. The WAT team makes sure a morning with them is not an easy way out of training. One of the main benefits of the program is that soldiers maintain their fitness even if they are missing out on PT. Blisters are common and are addressed quickly to get the soldier back out the door and allow time for the athletic trainers to treat more serious conditions. Private Ryan Primus is here this morning with a pair of swollen knees. He spends his time icing them down under the supervision of the WAT team. Others are suffering from ankle sprains or pulled muscles suffered during training. The goal each morning is to get every soldier treated and back out in time for chow so that little or no time is lost in the field with his unit.
Because we're here every day, that means the trainee can come 5 to 6 days a week if need be. Whereas if they go to the hospital, they might be seen at one time and they might not be followed up again for another 2 or 3 days. We want to get them back at 100%, and that's one of the reasons why they come see us. Because they can see us daily, we can get them back quicker and we can return them back faster.
Without the WAT program, all of these trainees would be processed out to sick hall or the hospital, which would result in lost time on the training field and a loss of fitness.
We see a quicker recovery time from the time of injury to the time that they're able to return back to training, and we've also started to see an improvement in injury prevention.
Battalion commanders and cadre both see positive impact from the WAT program early in its existence. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
As the Army continues to face transition, the Maneuver Center of Excellence prepares for changes to its civilian workforce. Sarah Tate informs us on what those changes might mean for Fort Benning employees.
The Maneuver Center of Excellence hosted a town hall meeting for TRADOC employees to inform them on the upcoming budget uncertainties regarding fiscal year 2015's Table of Distribution Allowance, or TDA.
It's the authorizations document by which the Congress allocates money through the Department of the Army to Fort Benning to pay for stuff, including our civilian pay.
As the Army reduces its force from 560,000 to 490,000 soldiers by the end of fiscal year 2015, the mission will call for less support and the civilian force will feel the impact.
But our standing goal to ourselves is to work this through without having to let a single person go. We've been successful in every one of our changes up to this point. We brought the BRAC here as we work to down to the 5 brigades. That's our goal. That's that kind of what we have set for ourselves, and we think we've got the tools available to us in order to make that happen.
Fiscal year 2015 concludes at the end of September that year, giving MCoE leaders nearly 20 months to prepare for staffing adjustments, which also leaves time for a natural progression of career changes and retirements.
We're also going to modify our hiring processes for how we look at bringing new folks in. We've been frozen. But now what we want to start to find ways to do is wherever possible on Fort Benning is reposition folks and get them moved from an at-risk position into one that we know is going to endure.
Civilian employees can view the town hall in its entirety and keep up to date on future information by visiting Fort Benning's homepage at benning.army.mil. Sarah Tate, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, an in-depth look at Ranger School's dreaded first week. Ranger School is one of the most premier leadership schools a soldier can attend. This training is extremely demanding both physically and mentally. Melissa Bell brings us day one of our series of the Ranger Assessment Phase as students battle it out to prove that they have what it takes to be a Ranger.
11 o'clock, shed, 11 o'clock, 1 man.
Ranger School.
Alpha 5, Alpha 5, Alpha 2-1, command over.
Not for the weak or faint of heart. Where students will learn to embrace the suck in order to get through 61 days of little to no sleep, minimal food, and an exhaustion that redefines their ability to endure. But for those who want it badly enough, they'll persevere. Because Rangers do not quit. But before you get to do any of that, you have to prove that you can handle what instructors will demand of you.
Next Ranger in the pit!
And it begins with the Ranger Physical Assessment.
Ranger!
One of the most basic assessments with the highest attrition rate for this school.
Do you understand the standard? 49 correct push-ups up, all right? All the way up, all the way down, okay?
The Ranger Physical Assessment is a 21-year-old age group at 70%. 49 push-ups, 59 sit-ups, and then a 5-mile run at 40 minutes.
And not to mention an additional 6 pull-ups after the run.
6, dismount. Ranger! Move out, Ranger. Next Ranger about the bar.
Training up for Ranger School is imperative, and making sure that all exercises are done to standard is critical.
35 minutes, you go there.
Because once you get to this school, Ranger instructors expect nothing less than perfection.
Right needs to go up as hard. 43, Ranger.
Doing a regular APFT, soldiers won't flex their arms all the way down or extend their arms all the way up. Here at Ranger School, we expect you to break the plane and then extend the arms completely. If they do not come all the way up or go all the way down, then the push-up will not be counted and that repetition will stay the same.
This is interlocked, this is not interlocked. Keep your fingers behind your head, not on top of your head. You must perform 59, understood?
Kicking off day one at 0400, it only takes the first few hours of Ranger School for students to learn to do it right or do it again.
It's the initial test of that Ranger's physical assessment to make sure that he is physically ready for the challenges here at Ranger School.
Students who can't pass this basic assessment will not only put themselves at risk throughout this course, but their classmates as well, as they enter other phases like Dahlonegah's mountains and Florida's swamps.
Biggest reason, they're just not ready. They get down here, they get intimidated, and they're not ready to pass the course.
For Class 314, almost 25% of the class fails the RPA and won't be able to continue. Contrary to popular belief, drops for this class are based solely on student performance and not mandatory numbers.
Oh, there's absolutely no reason to fear Ranger School. It's just coming here and doing your best and being the best leader you can be. There's no attrition rate standard for Ranger School. It's on the individual.
Leaving it up to the students to prove they have the physical ability, the mental endurance, and the leadership qualities to be an Army Ranger.
Let's go! Pull your beanie down over your head, Ranger.
Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Most Fort Benning courses incorporate some form of aerial training, but who supports all of these courses when they need a Black Hawk? That would be Fort Benning's very own flight company. The Ranger Flight Company supports the training of over a dozen courses at the Maneuver Center. These pilots and crew chiefs work long hours and in extreme conditions in order to bring flight training to soldiers and students.
We're extremely unique here at Fort Benning, being the only aviation unit on the post. I think one of our challenges is being as effective and efficient as possible. You know, there are more hours of aviation requirements than we can technically provide, but our struggle and our goal is to do that as efficiently and as effectively as possible.
A flight crew consists of a pilot in command, a co-pilot, and 2 crew chiefs in the back of the aircraft to help monitor passengers and mission equipment.
Flight crew to an aviation unit is a fire team to an infantry unit. It's a squad. That's really the crux of our unit, and the most important part of our unit is the crew.
From conducting insertions and extractions like spies and fries to executing veers jumps or static line jumps for students, the flight company is responsible for supporting all kinds of aviation incorporated training, safely and effectively.
For a training and doctrine unit, we have a wealth of aviation experience, and we're able to do everything that they ask of us. We're able to do high-risk missions repetitively, and I think that's what that experience brings. It allows us to rely on that aviation experience that we have here in this unit and to execute the really difficult missions that we do.
While the pilots and crew chiefs are not learning these techniques for the first time like the students on the ground are, they are still gaining experience, which is priceless for a flight crew.
This is a unique experience for them because it provides them the mission set, the tasks that they don't normally get in a standard aviation unit. It's just basically not really, it's not your 9-to-5 job. The hours are very sporadic, and pretty much putting in a 12-hour day every day is how the life is in aviation.
As we continue our series on the Ranger Flight Company, we'll follow the flight crew through jumps, drops, and insertion extractions as they take on the enormous task of supporting the training of an entire installation. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV. After the break, honoring a life spent in service that still serves as a constant inspiration.
It was a day of reflection, a day of education, and a day of celebration. The Maneuver Center of Excellence paid homage to honor the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
The Maneuver Center of Excellence hosted a ceremony honoring the efforts of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. in leading the country out of the segregation era into what we enjoy today. Guest speaker Lieutenant Colonel Dawson Plummer recognizes the progress that has been made and believes Dr. King would be pleased.
People are treated equally and they're treated fairly. When you look at the things that reinforce that, like the hate crime laws that were passed, people are able to walk around the United States freely. Now granted, there are some injustices that still occur, but the nice thing is that there's laws in place now that help us with our equality.
Students from Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School took the stage and presented the I Have a Dream speech. The United States military has long been the nation's best equal opportunity employer. Major General H.R. McMaster says the military has always been a leader in equal rights, but should never be complacent about the issue.
One of the strengths of our Army is our diversity, right? And so if you ever exclude any group of Americans, what you do is you deny yourself all their talent and what they can contribute to the team.
Lieutenant Colonel Plummer delivered a keynote speech that took the time to remind everyone of the extent of racism in the 1950s and of Dr. King's background and accomplishments. He recognized the personal debt that he feels because Dr. King's efforts allowed him to graduate with a commission and rise to the rank of lieutenant colonel and battalion commander. And he pointed out that the United States military is perhaps the best eliminator of racial boundaries.
Well, one thing that we got to understand about the military is that bombs and bullets, when fired by America's enemies, do not discriminate. And you learn to depend on whoever is on your left side or your right side, regardless of race, creed, or color.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at
last. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
You may be expecting a hefty refund, or you might be writing a check to Uncle Sam. Regardless, the Fort Benning Tax Center has you covered with a service provided for soldiers, family members, and retirees right here on post. The Fort Benning Tax Center is provided every year where soldiers, retirees, and their dependents can go get a free and professional, confidential tax service.
We file electronically, which helps the return process a little faster and also cuts down on identity theft. It's completely free. We do federal and state returns. Some of those places off post will do the federal for free, but where they get you is the state returns. They're very detailed and they're different than the federal, so that's where they will make their money and they'll take it right out of your refund.
The Tax Center provides services to all active duty soldiers, retirees, and their dependents, anyone with a military ID card. But even with one, if you are self-employed, have more than 3 rental houses, or buy and trade more than 10 stocks, the Tax Center legally cannot assist you.
VITA is really set up to assist people who need this service, and if you have a business or you're making a lot of money. That's not really what VITA was set up for. So they kind of restrict us on some of the returns we're able to do.
When you arrive at the tax center, every person must present a military ID and a social security card for everyone, even dependents. If you don't have these forms, you will not be able to get your taxes done, and it won't be worth the wait.
One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is wait a couple weeks. The very first couple weeks, everybody wants to get the returns and everybody wants to get their refund. It's also an intelligent thing to do because you're pretty much guaranteed that all your forms that you're going to need for your tax return, those are all going to be in at that point, which makes for a more accurate and complete return.
The IRS tax deadline is April 15, 2014, and regardless of what other tax agencies say, the Internal Revenue Service is not accepting any returns until January 31st, and you have a free and professional service available to you.
When you come here, you have people that want to do your taxes. We want to do your taxes, and we want to do all the tax returns we can, 100% accuracy, and we want to give you the biggest refund possible.
Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV. After the break, future Army soldiers spend their weekend prepping for their very own competition.
The Ranger Challenge competition isn't for soldiers, but instead cadets. Melissa Bell shows us how a local Reserve Officers Training Corps is taking advantage of some Fort Benning prime real estate as they train up for this event.
Cadets from Fort Valley State University and Albany State University took to Fort Benning for some much-needed training as they prepared for the Ranger Challenge competition just days away.
They're excited. They've been training this for a while, and they're definitely ready to go do it.
Here on Fort Benning, cadets were able to take advantage of the wide training areas as they practiced land navigation and lane training, which included rope bridges,
there you go. Get up there, get up there.
grenade assaults, and a commander's challenge.
Teamwork is awesome because we all know our places, we all know our jobs, what we're supposed to do, and we communicate perfectly fine to know exactly what we need to do and where we need to be, when we need to be there, so everything flows perfectly fine. And for us to do that run through in a different area, we did a really good job and it was really productive.
By completing this training, these cadets were able to find out what they can still tweak before they face 52 other teams from various universities in the Southeast region.
Pencil fell out the ACU top, and that was a 15-second penalty. So it's the small stuff that, of course, we have to tweak and change to get ready for our competition.
Not only were these cadets training on the physical aspect of these exercises, but the mental as well, as they reacted to contact which took out their leadership and forced others into that role. A real-life scenario that must be accounted for.
We all can get caught up into routines, but when you start throwing various variables in there, is how to react and respond to that. So the critical thinking piece is very significant. And I think they're reacting pretty good and they're thinking according to the knowledge base that they have.
Break it around, break it around.
This critical training will not only help these cadets succeed in the upcoming Ranger Challenge competition, but also in their future military careers.
Let's go.
Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
The 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team welcomed a group of students from Blackmon Road Middle School. Class is in session as these students take on an air assault obstacle course, giving middle schoolers a day in the boots of a soldier.
200 students from Blackmon Middle School invaded Kelly Hill and tackled the air assault obstacle course. It was all a part of the Partners in Education program. Blackmon Middle School has a long-standing partnership with the 3rd Brigade in an effort to enrich the students' experience and strengthen Fort Benning's relationship with Columbus.
We've tried to push these kids to practice their leadership, to practice their determination, but not only that, practice their confidence.
Some obstacles proved more difficult than others, and some even had the opportunity to face their fears and were thankful to the soldiers who helped them through it.
This makes me think of soldiers in a really different way. They're really brave to do these obstacles, and I have high respect for them.
Partners in Education gives school children the opportunity to be mentored and guided by soldiers. It gives the student a positive role model to look up to and an ideal to aspire toward.
Sometimes they will come in and work with the kids. We've seen soldiers come in and work with them for math and reading and things like that. It's like a kind of a big brother, big sister kind of thing for schools.
Tackling an obstacle course is all in a hard day's work for the soldiers, and demonstrating that to the children is one of the benefits of being partners in education.
The community doesn't really understand what we do. So this is one of our takes in sending the kids over so they can know what exactly we're all about, what the training that we do, what we do as a service for our country.
The relationship between the school systems in Fort Benning is an important one, but the real importance is in the relationship between the soldiers and the children that look up to them. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
The Partners in Education program really does help the surrounding community understand how hard it is to be a soldier.
Nicole, did you know that nearly 40 schools partner with Fort Benning in the surrounding area?
Wow, it's a great program that really has been successful. And that will bring this edition of the Benning Report to an end.
But you can watch these stories and others on youtube.com/BenningTV or at benning.army.mil.
You can also like us on Facebook.
From the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching.